Welcome, welcome. Koi happy hour. I'll invite some folks up onto the stage. Nice. Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Very good. I was just in my settings when you did the invite and everything froze for
Oh
like
no, sorry.
20 seconds. No, no, no. It's just good to know that about Discord.
Yeah. Well, we learned an interesting quirk. Should ask that beforehand.
So somebody told me I sounded like I was in a hallway. I was in there trying to see. Or do I come across clearly to you?
You come across, yeah, pretty clearly to me. There's that
Okay.
s- there's that slight reverb. I think everybody has. I bet you I have it too. That everybody's kind of like with a high quality mic that's not quite like the god tier mic. You can kind of notice. Like we don't sound like the professional podcast YouTube audio guys, you know?
Well, just listening to the things out of my mouth which should indicate that. Uh,
Same.
Let me see. Did that change anything?
Actually, that did.
Better
That's
or worse?
that's it's clearer. Yeah.
Okay. Great. That's what I was trying to do when I got the invite.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Well, yeah, no, that it's a minor difference. It's very minor, but it's definitely it's noticeable too.
Yeah, I just went from laptop to headphones.
Hell yeah.
Um, you'll have to tell me
Oh,
too. I live in an absolute zoo of a neighborhood with dogs barking, and one of them's going right now. So you'll have to let me know if you ever need me to mute, because I don't know what comes through and what doesn't.
no, for the most part, all I can hear is just your voice and nothing else.
Great.
It's pretty
Okay.
crisp. No
Great.
dogs. Yeah. I used to do these things. Well, I'm still in my home office actually. I guess there just used to be construction on the side of my house, and it used to be loud. Like to me, I'm wearing the headset, and it was hard for me to hear what like people in like in the meetings were saying.
Yep.
And then I remember asking them. I was like, hey, like, is this bothering you guys? Like, can you guys do anything? They're like, we can't hear it at all. It's not even coming through. It's like, what? That's insane. So, mic
Yeah, it makes you
technology,
both
it's kind of fun.
happy and annoyed at the same time because they should
Yeah,
be suffering along with you.
absolutely. The only
I
way
was
to
in
go
a
about it.
I was in an apartment once that was an old converted mill building, like many, many, many apartments. And they decided they were going to do renovations on the roof. And it was
Mhm.
like 5 or 6 stories. And they put the debris chute right by my bedroom. Like just it's just this giant tube that they built in the side of the building that they just literally threw bricks and scrap metal in. Uh and so that was my life for 6 months, just sleeping by the debris chute. It was not even a discount on the rent. It was horrendous.
Oh no, that's rough. And they should have at least given you a discount on rent.
Yeah, that's my argument, but nope.
No, brutal. No worries. Well, you're here now. Seems like you're not living next to a debris pile.
No, just $500.
Yeah, well, hey, that's also cool. We'll get started in just a minute here, folks. I believe Al is going to join. Welcome, Laura, to the stage. Laura is a one of our Koii engineers here, head of AI at Koii, working on some pretty interesting projects. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah. I wanted to jump in. I guess I was trying to wait for Al, but maybe it's just worthwhile to get going and keep the party rolling. And if Al jumps in, we'll we'll entertain. We'll be entertained with him later on. You know, cross that bridge when we get there. So yeah. I guess first things first. Maybe we talk a little bit about the week at Koi. um because it's been long, it's been crazy. We get there's probably a lull in communications with between the Koi team and between the community, and that's something we want to address ASAP. We really want to fix that. We want to give you guys more information, more up to date information, basically all the time. And the guy, people, folks who join the happy hour here today, you guys are the ones that are actually going to spread this information out, and you're going to be the champions of the information. So it's really important that I get directly to you guys with the latest and greatest information that we have. So the two things that we've been working on at Koii, I think the two primary products are the 247 builders, the 24/7, the always building builders. They're AI agents that can write code, and we have Laura here to talk about that wonderful project and some cool initiatives that we're going to be building alongside of it. But the other thing that you probably noticed was the builder task. The new beta for our bonus task said builder task. It's the bonus task. So we just released a new beta program, a version 0 of a product we're calling the bonus task. And this is going to be a way for us to get a bunch more Koii back into your guys' wallets. We know that distributions have been low, that the RPCs have been struggling a bit. Every week we have our CTO working and crushing through DevOps problems. So we're getting closer and closer to that mark every day. And I think that the new bonus task that we just released in beta is going to be a really great step to getting rewards back out to the community. I think that's been the number one thing that's been missing for a little while, and we've heard you guys. So this is the new focus, is get rewards back to you guys. And the bonus test is going to do that. For developers, they get a huge stake, and also the users. You guys get 50%. And the task that you run, the KPL tasks that you're running, basically count as your vote. So the ones that you run and the submissions you make end up getting weighted. And that runs in, or the bonus task processes that information and then gives you guys and the developers who made these KPL tasks rewards in Koii based off that. So super exciting initiative. We're going to be making it better every week. We have worked sleepless nights all week to get that out. And it's really nice to see in the node. And yeah, so there's a big little I don't know. I'm gonna give myself a pat on the shoulders. It was really hard to get out, and we're gonna just keep on improving it, keep on making it better. In the meantime, though, we have Laura here, and Laura is one of the top engineers here at Koii, and she has been helming the new AI initiative that we've been pushing. We've talked a lot, last week in the happy hour over the course of the week, especially on X and stuff, about how Koii is going to be building a new future for the internet, right? And part of the way we were planning on doing that is building tools for AI. What does that really mean? It means we're going to give AI the ability to do things on the internet autonomously. And that's a huge superpower. Imagine if you could actually build a business. If you could get paid for using your computer to train AI to make it better so that it could write code. I mean, that's an amazing ecosystem that we're going to be building there. So we invited, sorry, I'm tongue-tied. We've invited Laura up here just to talk a little bit about the auto builders, what they're going to be bringing to the community, and a new fun initiative that we've kind of been planning around, what we can have these AI do. So before we jump into all that, I just want to welcome Laura to the stage. How's it going?
Uh, It's pretty good. The weather in Halifax is not fantastic today, but I am working from home, so I don't really care.
Yeah, I spent the morning shoveling, and it's the type of snow that's, just melting. It's like 2 degrees Celsius, so just above
Yep,
freezing, and it's heavy. It's really heavy.
yep.
Moving it around is a slog. How's the week been? Busy at Koi?
Yes, this has been a very busy but very productive week. First of all, I have been working on a feature for the desktop node called Orca, which is for running Koi tasks in containers. This is really important because a lot of AI stuff requires Python or other languages. It requires resources and packages that you can't do in a JavaScript task. So that I have been working on for about 3 months now, I believe, and it is finally in the final testing stages. It's we have tested it. Everything's working fine. There's a couple of small UI bugs that need to be worked out, but it is basically ready to go, which is a huge thing because it's going to allow us to do a lot of stuff that we couldn't do before. On
That's
top of that, um,
well, just before we move on, because
mm,
that's a really cool thing you mentioned, and there's some non-techie folk here in the chat.
mhm,
You said that we're giving a new update so that we can have containers, and that'll let
mhm,
us do more interesting things. So
right.
could you talk a bit more? What's a container, and how can we do more interesting things with them?
All right. So a container is basically taking um, making sort of like a small environment where you can run computer code with whatever whatever. Sorry, let me think how to say this.
That's all
Maybe
good.
like a
Um,
virtual machine. It's like
sorry.
kind of like having a virtual computer
It's
inside your
like
computer.
having a virtual computer. Yes, exactly. So basically, it can run code inside that environment that you wouldn't necessarily be able to run on your own computer. If anyone has used a virtual machine, it's very similar to that.
And also quite a bit more securely as well, because it means
Yes,
we're really
yes,
separating the code that's running from your computer in a separate place, which is really important for
exactly.
the AI stuff because we don't want to run
Yeah,
that right on your native computer. Not that there's
yes.
anything wrong with it, but you know, we have to be a little worried about having the AI run loose on our computer.
Yes, it's a very sandboxed environment, so there's no access from the container to your computer.
Okay, so my computer's more secure, and now we can do cool AI stuff on Koi.
Yeah,
Oh, that sounds like a win-win, I have to say. Sweet. So you said
Good.
that's coming out in the next node update?
yes, I don't think it will be out today, but I believe it will go out on Monday.
Fantastic. Sorry, Chris, I saw you that you were about to say something.
No, I was just wondering if that makes our last week's conversation a little moot at this point, where I was wondering about the warnings that this hasn't been tested by Koii. Does having a containerized system make you worry less about code, or is it a completely different animal?
So it's sort of 50-50. Absolutely, running it in a container does make it more secure. However, there is still a possibility because the interface from the container to the task is still in JavaScript. It is theoretically possible for someone to put something in the JavaScript part, which is still dangerous. However, it's much easier to catch. If we are reviewing tasks, it's much easier for us to look at the small amount of JavaScript that's there and say, okay, everything is fine.
Oh, excellent. And I imagine at some point soon you'll have an agent doing that for you as well.
I certainly hope so.
Okay.
We're gonna have AI power the world. It's gonna be great. Everything's gonna be AI. It's gonna happen right here
Yeah,
at
I want
Koi.
to highlight one thing though as well. Unlike most other tech companies, Koii is not trying to automate everything that people do. We're trying to augment what people can do, and give you guys more opportunities to use your computer to kind of help you do great things. Um, this is a big advantage, but it also means a little bit different from what our competitors are trying to do, where they're counting on artificial intelligence to completely replace you. Our goal is really that human beings are still in the driver's seat here, and so with these agents coming out on Koi, you get to coach your agent, you get to give it feedback, and that's going to be the tipping point, at least we think, towards a lot more effective and impressive outcomes that we can do, where kind of humans and AI are working together as opposed to just trying to count on AI to solve all our problems for us.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
One of the things that I think is kind of obvious from the direction that our AI strategy is going is that everything that we're doing is to make it easier for people who don't necessarily have a technical background to, generate code to create applications. And so the idea is still yours. That's not coming from the AI. All of that is you. But the hard part that takes so much time to learn, all of that the agent can take care of for you.
So it's like a superpower.
Yes, it is.
Aha, I like that. I like having superpowers. Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing to echo is that at Koei we really are, a human focused business. We're a tech business, but we make tech to make the lives of people better. And that's going to start with us, the people who are actually here, boots on the ground, actually helping build a better decentralized internet. And a decentralized internet is one that's more trustworthy and one that we all own and one that's, you know, um, less under threat of just, all coming crashing down because, one company puts us under ransom. What if Amazon did that? Imagine. They are just like, hey, all of Cloud Sonnet or Microsoft, they're like all of ChatGPT, we're just going to take it offline. All the data you gave us, we're just going to sell it off, right? And you can do anything about that, really. You're beholden to these companies. And the thing is, a lot of people say, well, just don't use it. But you can't. You can't go about life not using these tools. They're very useful. They're very powerful. They put you ahead. They give you an advantage. So the whole ethos here at Koei is we should be in control of that as a crowd, as a collective. We, not, you know, not one person who's sitting in a really fancy chair and they're eating their fancy steaks and they have their nice wine. No, that I mean, those people are fine, but this internet is for us. It's a community thing. The internet's always been a community thing. And so giving us the power again is always been the ethos. And that's why I love Koi so much, is like it's always come back to that. It's a really strong centering point in I think the Web3 ethos that Koi hasn't lost that I think a lot of other companies have.
Yeah, absolutely. When I made the transition into Web3, like left my career behind for it, it was because of the mission behind everything. And I rarely hear people speak of mission these days. It's kind of sad.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think we're in a place where there's a lot of systems that you can follow, but those systems are like the low hanging fruit, right? And now we're all just competing for that stuff. I think Web3 is trying to do the hard stuff. Recreate the internet. Holy crap, that's hard. And to create something better, that's inspiring.
Yep, agreed. When I was hearing both you and Al talk, like Al made it sound like Neuralink without the physical spike in my head, which I liked. You know, the
Yeah, yeah.
augmentation rather than the supplanting. Um, but but also like when you were just talking, I was thinking about Farmer Bro. Remember what he did? You know, you
Armor.
buy out a medication company and then you
Oh
jack
yeah,
up the prices on
for sure.
life critical meds by 1,000, 10,000%. Like that's absolutely what these big AI players can be doing. And
Oh yeah.
it's nice to think that there's other solutions out there to prevent that from happening. Because you were talking about using AI to get ahead, but I think just using AI is needed to keep up nowadays.
Absolutely. He, we have this in our in one of our pitch decks. Sam Altman said like he actually said this. He was like AI is going to destroy the world, but in the meantime, some people are going to make some really good companies and they're going to make some really good money. And I'm just like, whenever I read that, I cringe. I'm like, man, you have lost the plot of humanity. That's insane. That's an insane person thing to say, in my opinion. Um, like,
Yeah.
what, hey, we're gonna build this thing that will inevitably destroy everything in a way that's probably gonna be brutal. And but don't worry, because in the meantime, we're gonna make some good money. We're gonna get to buy some nice watches.
Oh, it's the climate crisis all over again, just in a new direction. I mean,
With a new
these
veneer.
the, these petroleum companies have known for years. They knew way back with the Exxon Valdez, like what the
So
score was, and here we are. So
I think the key focus here, though, is the Koii agents that we're building for everybody. These are decentralized because decentralization in this case gives you all a lot more freedom and power and gives you a lot more actual returns. If you run these on Sam Altman's cloud, then your agent has to run on someone else's computer, which means it's paying rent. And just like paying rent in like a downtown of a big city, it's going to be expensive and it's crowded in there. Um, what we're trying to provide here is a completely new foundational approach to these things. And I also heard this week that some people were a little frustrated with the bonus task. I want to acknowledge that, obviously this is a beta. Just like everything else we do at Koii, we're building fully decentralized systems. So it doesn't immediately work. And it won't actually ever because it's a new thing. We can't test this without having a cluster of devices. So when something comes out to the community, that means it's in testing effectively. Like we test it internally as much as we can, but we can't test anything without having it go live onto all of your devices. And so that's phase 2 of the testing process. There are obviously situations where this limits how many rewards people get or other kind of factors like that. We are really working to make sure that everybody is rewarded for being in early, though. So, if you're one of those people running the bonus task early, that means you're going to have greater voting rights later. I just want to keep that in mind for everybody. And this is kind of something that part of the reason that Koii exists is because I was very frustrated that in the Ethereum world, a lot of things were half decentralized or somewhat decentralized. And so what we've been doing at Koii for a long time is to build things that are actually going to be fully decentralized, completely trustless, and really focused on the user, which is all of you guys. And it's a commitment that we make, but it's also something that I think genuinely it is quite a bit more work behind the scenes than it may be apparent from the front. I see we have a question about AI in the chat, so maybe we want to get to that one.
Before we do, could you just follow up on what you just said and reiterate what voting rights means?
Yeah, so with the bonus task, we're allocating this huge pool of capital, our ecosystem fund, into the bonus task. What we'd like to be seeing here is anybody who runs the bonus task now or in the future, based on the amount of Koii tokens you're staking, how long you've been staking, and how much uptime you've had, you're going to get voting rights on what happens to the ecosystem fund. And so what this means is you'll be able to choose which Koii tasks you're giving those bonuses to. And if you run those Koii tasks, then you'll be able to get that bonus amount. So let's say that you are currently mining fire tokens and you've been running that task for a long time and you want to keep doing it. Or let's say you're running Astrolink and you actually like mining Astro tokens because you're using them to pay for social boosts. Whatever it is that you're already doing, you can now allocate more of the ecosystem fund and more of the bonus rewards towards that task that you already want to run, or that task that runs well on your computer. So the goal here is the people who are running the bonus task and staking on it are going to be the ones who get to vote on all of these things, and that's where the reward distribution comes out. So the whole point of the bonus task is you guys get to allocate the ecosystem fund on our behalf, and we're here to help you to do that, basically. If you check the end of the bonus task blog post, there's a small section that explains a little bit more about this. I'll drop the link here in a sec.
Nice, thank you. All right, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to follow up that natural flow of there. You said there was a question?
Yeah, there's several questions popping up in the chat.
I will handle some of these about the AI task. The new AI task that we are discussing does not currently use a Llama server. That's something that we are looking into. But at the moment, it will be using the Anthropic API, so it will not take up a lot of your system resources. If we do launch the task with the Llama server, then it will use the same model which is already used for the what is it called? The beta coach, which means that it won't duplicate resources. So if you're able to run that model now, you would be able to run the AI task as well without using additional resources on your computer. If you're not able to run the model locally, that is a problem that some people are going to run into. AI models are large, even when we try to use small ones. Distributed inference is something that I am looking into, but it is an extremely challenging task and will not happen anytime extremely soon. And I believe that answers everything that people have asked. If I missed anything, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. For those of you who were at the dev webinar yesterday, you probably noticed, we were trying to get the smallest possible models to run, in the test version of the Orchid container, and even those were like, I think the smallest one we found was like Phi 2, and it was like 6 gigs. That could actually do what we wanted it to do. So it's there's even the smallest of models are still quite significant. No way around it. Something I wanted to bring up, something I wanted to chat a little bit about, and Laura, I was wondering if you could take the lead. We were talking a little bit about different AI projects that you could that we could commit to as Koii, and one of the ones that we came out that we really loved was this AI GeoCity, and I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Sure. So this was a sort of silly idea that I came up with, but I think it's kind of fun. So basically, for anyone who's old like me, you might remember there used to be a website called GeoCities back in the early internet where you could create a page, and it was basically like a single page homepage that you could create for yourself where you could put whatever you wanted on it, talk about your hobbies, like put poems, put pictures of your cat, whatever you like. So what I thought was that what we could do is have something like that, but instead of actually writing the code yourself and creating the page yourself, you can prompt an AI. I would like to make a page that has this. I want to put this on it. And then it will actually generate the page for you.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Um, so basically, it would be this place I could go to, and it would be I could look through a bunch of different AI generated websites, and I could go in them, and each of them would be based off different users' suggestions.
Exactly. So you could make it extremely personalized. You could tell it what content you want to put on it. You could give it pictures to put on. You could tell it that you want to make the background orange and the text purple, whatever you like. And it will just create that page for you. You don't have to do anything. Except just say what you want.
Awesome. And so this would happen by just running a Koi task. My AI would automatically go out and take my suggestions and start building them.
Yeah. So the way that it would work is we'll have a front end where people can put in their suggestions. And that will have a small planner agent that will turn that into tasks. And then those tasks will be assigned to Koii nodes. And those Koii nodes will write the code and they will upload it to GitHub, which is what we use to manage our code base. And then that will be automatically published. So, from a user's perspective, there are two parts. There's entering in whatever suggestions you want to create your page, and then running the Koii node, which will run a builder, which will allow you to earn rewards. And your builder will create a small piece of either your like web page or somebody else's.
Cool. That sounds really fun. Um, it reminds me, well, it just makes me think of a bunch of games. Right now the mobile landscape is kind of has a lot of these games where it's like people are making little cities, and then they're getting to decorate and populate those cities, and people are just like going around, you know, engaging with one another. So you even have like things like Second Life and Better Life and all these things that are like online games, just to create your own space and then just to engage with other people in that space. So I think that this AI GeoCities thing, this idea is incredible. It sounds so fun to just have this ecosystem where we can all be creating these little homes for ourselves, these little cities, and everybody kind of gets to create their identity behind it, and then we can kind of vote on it. We can create a lot more community. I could just imagine, if we made this open source and we really let the community, get behind it, you could have some people making, UIs for it to sort of engage with it in a gamified fashion or something like that. Or you could have people like having APIs that are reading off the sites, or maybe some of the sites will actually end up having a bunch of utility. Like that'd be really cool. If someone made their like, I don't know, their college portfolio. That'd be really cool. Actually, I might even try that. Using my GeoCity as sort of a portfolio for the things that I worked on. Those ideas sound really interesting to me.
Yes, that is, well, that's the point.
That's the point. Yeah. What's Chris? You've been sitting here. If you could make a little website, if you could have an AI make a website for you, what would you give it as a prompt?
I want to actually cheat a little bit and take the idea you just had and put some sort of a matchmaking device in the background run by AI. So once you have your site built, it finds people based off of criteria. Like you could use it as a replacement for LinkedIn. You could use it to find like meetup groups or people that share your hobbies, customers, you name it. I think there's never ending functionality beyond just kind of the neat aspect of having your own identity and your own page.
No, that'd be really cool. Like any sort of coordination device. If you could create a social graph out of this, and then you could actually make like some sort of social media, like a LinkedIn, right? Where people could connect. That would be awesome. You have everybody could vote on which site they like the best, and you could have like comments, and you could almost run it like a little bit of a Reddit. That'd be really cool. Like, it's like Reddit,
Yeah.
except your homepage is just a page you get to make with AI. That's actually really cool.
But I'll actually pivot really boring for a moment instead of something inspirational. I'll pick something practical. I actually work with a company that builds DPPs, digital product passports. Um, and so I've been getting a lot into like supply chain, value chain tracking.
Hmm.
So I think that there is definitely um, like business uses for this. There's definitely like um, efficiency analytic tasks. So um, if somebody runs a small enterprise, a small mom and pop, or even maybe 50 employees or less, and they're just really struggling, having an AI agent built efficiency. Remember the old pop-ups you used to get where 99% of them were viruses, click a button to improve your Windows speed or your computer speed. Having
Yeah.
something like that that could just do some basic low-hanging fruit cursory glances through like your supply chain, your financials, just to bring people up to speed. I think as I get older, the one thing I realize more and more is nobody can do everything, but beyond that, nobody can even do a fraction of everything. What to you and I are common sense to somebody else is like reading Latin. One of the best tech people I know can't read a basic contract to save their life, um, and having something that just kind of did a cursory low to mid-level audit on small businesses and offered suggestions based off of readily available information on the internet that maybe you wouldn't think to look, I think would be a really neat tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing to highlight there is these 24/7 builders. We started out building them to write code because that's the thing that we need the most on Koii right now. But they actually do a lot more than that. Generally, they can build anything where a person provides a spec and then provides feedback. So anytime that you have an idea for something that you want to develop more, you can recruit a group of these builders to keep hacking it out. Um, and they will be building it on GitHub, but that doesn't mean that it can't be a legal contract or something a little bit more specific as well. And so there's a wide range of these kinds of things. In fact, actually, one of the applications I'm really interested in is having these AI agents write books and things like that, or for example, movies. And the really cool application here is each one of the agents has its own node operator behind it. And so each one of us gets our own agent, and then we can actually guide them down this path. And so we can provide feedback, and we can help them actually find the correct path to get their respective input accepted. And then the really neat thing about this though is that it makes collaboration between a large group of people also like pretty effortless. So you can have a huge group of people who are supporting our agents to build something. And it could be a research tool, it could be a legal bot, it could be writing a movie together. The whole flow from the initial idea right through to all the feedback and the whole execution of it happens within the agent framework. And so as individuals, all we need to do is give our feedback and provide input, which is kind of like all of us collectively managing some big company with lots of employees, except the employees in this case are just AI agents running on our computers. which kind of has the fun aspect of all of us getting to do the fun part and give feedback without having to constantly be actually grinding and writing code, which hopefully is going to make a bunch of our team's lives a lot easier. Because I don't know if it's clear from the outside, but right now it's 18-hour days of writing really really complicated software, which is kind of how Koii has come to exist so far.
Yes, I can definitely confirm that.
Are you in the transition period right now where you're not far along enough to use the agents completely? So you're writing the 18 hours a day of code, but also throwing in a couple hours of training agents. Like the agent hasn't kind of offset your code writing tasks yet, and you're doing double duty. Are you still in that phase?
Yeah, pretty much. The agents that we're working with right now are okay, but they definitely need a lot of supervision.
I think someday Koii needs to have a really great visualization of this process because it's interesting to hear, and I can follow along. But when you start talking about some of the more abstract stuff that these agents can do beyond writing code, um, it gets a little bit more difficult to visualize.
Mm.
So I wonder if there's not some sort of a demo that has some sort of a visual wow factor that can really like just make everything click.
I do not have anything at the moment, but I agree that's a great idea. I can, however, speak a little bit about just the basic concepts of an agent, which might help people understand a little bit more. So the basic way that an agent works is you have an LLM. LLMs can only generate text. They can't do anything else. So what we do is we use an API, which is an interface, which allows us to communicate with the LLM, and we can tell it, we have these tools available for you. So we have written tools for executing commands on the command line, for editing files, for working with Git. And we have passed all those tools to the LLM, and we have said, these are the tools that you can use. And so what the LLM does is it responds back to us and it says, I want to use this tool, and I want to give you this data to use with the tool. And then we execute the tool. And then we respond back to the LLM and we say, okay, we ran the tool and this was the result. And then you have this process of iterating back and forth with the LLM where you're telling it, okay, so this is what we got. And the LLM says, this is what I want to do next. And then we do that for it. And then we pass that back to the LLM. So it is actually sort of a collaboration between like a traditional code and an AI. So we get this process where it allows us to basically enable the AI to do anything we want if we can give it the right tool.
I think one of the key things to highlight here too, though, is that the LLM isn't actually doing all of it. The like in traditional systems, like if you ask ChatGPT to figure out a problem for you, it has to go and actually think about how to solve that problem, and then it tries to solve the problem, and then it comes back to you with the answer. In this case, what we're doing is building sort of small modular tools so that the AI agent can actually run one thing that is a tool instead of having to go and think about it every time. So if there's a million people every day asking ChatGPT what the weather is going to be like, then that actually can be something that can be automated with a tool and potentially even run on Koii nodes. So that's the big opportunity here for the Koii community is like every time that we can iterate towards one of these outcomes, we end up with something that can be a stable foundational element of a much broader ecosystem. And that's where, the economics circle back to everybody on Koii nodes eventually having some value from all of this. I will say though, Laura, it sounds maybe a little daunting to people when they're thinking, you have to train the model and then it doesn't necessarily actually provide too much. I did actually, I used AI models to write a lot of code at the beginning of this month, actually, because I was trying to launch our token, and in the process of launching the Koii token, I was very, very busy. But I also had my agents running about 24/7 during that time. And it was actually pretty successful in writing a whole bunch of the foundational parts of this new task. And so while it isn't a finished product yet, it does allow you to test a lot of things very quickly. So that can be a big advantage. So even if you have to sit there and supervise it, there's definitely some big advantages to having the AI do all the nitty gritty work.
Oh, yes, I absolutely agree. We were able to create an agent from scratch, I think, in about 1 week, and that was only possible because of the other agents that we were using.
It
I think
also sounds
that's
like
the really exciting part about this is like each time that we build a slightly bigger agent, it helps us build the next thing. And so you could imagine this like a factory full of robots where each time that you make a robot, it makes it easier to build the next robot, which is pretty awesome. That making more sense, Chris?
yeah, and it also sounds like you're describing a system that gives better answers. Because when you're describing what an LLM has to go through to produce the output, there's a lot of room for error. And I notice that when I'm using most of the LLMs that I've tried, they get confused after a while and they can only handle so many tasks. So if you build it in a modular way, each module with its own specialty, you're probably going to get, as long as the info handoff between the modules is good, you're probably going to get better answers.
Yes, that's one thing that I have discovered in my own testing is that the more tasks you try to give a single agent, the worse it does. So what we are now doing is we're taking from a user's perspective, it will be a single agent, but actually internally, there are several agents managing several different parts of the process. And each one of them is extremely specialized in the part that it needs to handle.
Yeah, I am. I think I'm getting a better handle on these in general. I watched through a tutorial where a guy was pretty much just um, building an agent with a drag and drop system with like drag and drop gateways. It almost looked like he was just manipulating a flow chart, and in the background he was building out an agent, and that looked a little bit more manageable than coding. So,
Yes, there are already no code or low code builders that will allow you to make agent workflows. The difference that I think that Koi brings is that um, those workflows, because they're trying to do everything, it's still very hard for someone to manage. You need to understand how the LLM works. You need to control every part of the process. You need to make sure that your tools are like granular enough. You need to make sure that you're managing the context at every step. There's a lot of challenges in trying to just, build an agent from scratch, even if you're using a no code tool. And I think one of the things that Koi really brings to this is that we are handling a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And so we're creating all the tools, we're handling all these like challenges in the background, and then all you need to do is interact with it.
yeah, and to back that up, having a strong community, I think bridges the gap between discovery and interaction, right? Because right now, if you told me that I needed to jump on to Koi and start interacting with agents, I wouldn't know the next step. But going to Discord, I'm sure it would take 5 or 10 minutes to get there.
Yes, definitely. That is one thing that we definitely want to do is make sure that we are giving everybody the support that they need to use these effectively.
Yeah, I think building solid tutorials is something that we're you know considering very seriously considering for the future of our pipeline. Uh, we're certainly going to have tutorial videos on how to set up and use these AI tools, but more than that, we want to have more videos coming out about how to take advantage of the AI tools, not just how to interact, but how to actually extract value and see results. Creating these visual tours of what's going on in Koi, I think, is going to be really valuable and important to the community, so that we can really start to see what's going on. Even in this happy hour here, really, it's just a podcast style. I mean, we're all just listening. I'm sure some of you guys are working on the side, or perhaps doing the dishes or whatever, just kind of trying to get the lay of the land. I think that we can flip that. We can have
Yeah,
this really engaging visual journey about what's going on at Koi, and keeping you guys more updated on that front.
yeah, yeah, that absolutely would help. I think it's essential as we start getting into the more and more technical aspects of advance use. And again, especially you guys are going down a tricky road, right? You want to make something cutting edge accessible to the masses, of which I'm one of. And it's just to quote the dumb saying, it's having your cake and eating it too, right? So I think visuals are how you bridge that gap in interactivity. So anything you can do to engage in small, meaningful ways along that visual journey, I think is good too.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed one of the questions was, why aren't we giving, the Sono tasks some more love, catch the record? And the reality is, we should be. We should be celebrating the developers in our community more. And so that's why we recently brought Catch the Record up onto the happy hour, and we plan on doing more X spaces, more shout outs, more engaging with the community to really teach you guys and show you guys who Catch is, uh, teach people about his story, and then really get you guys excited and aware and behind his project. And it'll really help you conceptualize the value of his token. I think it's an incredible project, and it's sort of difficult to just wrap up in a few sentences. But basically, what if you could have, a new way of getting sound data that rewards everyone? And then what could you do with sound data? It's like a whole new paradigm of data. It's a really really cool project that he's working on. And so right now, I definitely implore you guys to go, reach out to him in the Discord community. There's tons of information. You can check out the Koi Ocean page on him. And stay tuned because we'll absolutely be giving more spotlights to him and other members in the community. We're working on the pipeline, but we obviously want to be showing off these guys who are absolute rock stars and doing some of the coolest stuff ever.
Absolutely. And I know that once Orca goes live, you're going to be getting a lot more development too. I
Yeah.
know two people specifically, waiting with bated breath. So that's going to be an exciting development.
Absolutely, absolutely. I see in chat we have Grimjaw, and he is very much waiting for the Orca nodes to go live because he has a really, really impressive sort of DeFi AI project that he's working on with us. So we're just sprinting to get this tech out for people like him, so that he can use cool Python models and really create super super interesting apps that are sort of beyond the scope of what we're trying to do here at Koii, which is build the infrastructure to make it happen, and then a really cool use case, which is our AI 247 builders. Hopefully we'll change the world with those. But we're a network and we want to engage everyone, and so I'm super excited to start seeing all the new AI projects that'll start coming out. I think Koii's been talking about AI for a while, right? And there's been you've always been able to call an API and get a response from a model, and you could always build a system or tool with it. But I think this new door that we're opening, which is you're actually going to be able to run AI locally on a machine within a Koii node, within this sandboxed, secure, relatively more secure environment. It's going to be huge. It's going to open up the doors for a lot of devs. And I know there's a lot of devs in the community that have been waiting for this moment. They message me every month or two. They're like, hey there, can I use PyTorch yet? It's always, can I use PyTorch yet? And the answer's traditionally been no, but now we can finally say yes, or at least very soon we can say yes. Um, the repo to start playing around and testing it is live on GitHub, by the way, for the new Orca node, if you want to go test it out. It's just that you can't get it to a production environment quite yet. But we do have support available if you want to start working on those AI projects right now. More than happy to, start discussions in the builder section of the Discord community. Make sure to keep it there, right? Because that way other community members can see it, other builders can help you out. We can have open discussions, and then when I'm not around or I'm too busy to get to your messages, then there's other people in the community that you can interface with. And I think that's, part of the beauty of open source, crowdsource code is that we get to do it together.
Yeah, I just want to highlight one thing here. The bonus task actually fits in very nicely with our current AI push. The big advantage of the AI builders is that you'll be able to build applications and deploy them to Koii nodes. And what we hope to see in the future, probably within the month or next couple months, is to have AI agents actually writing Koii tasks and deploying them, and possibly even launching new tokens. And so the big reason that we've deployed the bonus task is to ensure that these new tasks that come out that are AI generated will actually be able to get rewards. Um, and so for anybody who is jumping in on that bonus task and building up their voting power, that's going to be basically how you can choose which AI tasks will get the rewards. And so this is how we're going to ensure that there's enough nodes to support all these new AI tasks, but also that you guys get to make some of the governance decisions and choose what happens and when. And so this is hopefully going to lead to the bonus task reinforcing some of the best AI agents on Koii and letting the community kind of vote on what things get prioritized and what features we prioritize. And then the flip side of that, of course, is once those new bonus tasks get rewarded, this means that if you're one of the AI builders that built them, you're going to actually be getting some of the developer rewards from the bonus task. And so that ebb and flow of bonus task rewards leading to AI agents getting rewarded is going to lead to you as a builder agent getting rewarded, and then leading to more Koii tasks getting developed. So a really bright future here, and it's exciting to see these things coming out at the same time.
The more I hear you talking the voting community, the more I kind of realize that you've cracked some of the issues I had with DAOs, and you've actually taken this unwieldy behemoth and turned it into something streamlined and efficient, but with the same democratized outcome. So well done.
Yeah, we we've thought about that a lot, that specific one, right? I mean, there was a time when we actually wanted to call one of the products we had on Koi compute DAOs, right? Because we created this uh, infrastructure, right, that can surround them. Um, Now there's an actual voting mechanism, right? It's not just about trying to coordinate 50 people, get them onto a call, make a decision, you know. It's way more feasible to manage a huge community and align their decisions and stuff. And then, not only do you have crowd power, but you have the whole crowd. It's not just the people who are sort of part of the DAO, it's also all the stakeholders, everybody who uses the products and stuff like that. We all get a vote, and I think that is, yeah, it's better. It's way better.
Yeah, it's closer to the ideals of a direct democracy too, because even the DAOs sort of evolved into representative democracy. Like you had your oracles, you had your intermediaries, and this feels a lot more pure to me.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely see where you're coming from with that, and of course, I appreciate it too. I think we are more pure. I think that the plot has been lost with Web3, I think, and it's not a bad thing inherently. I think the industry is just moving and shifting in a way, but the old Web3 ethos, it's still very much alive. It just has more competition now, but that's the one that really gets me in and behind, everything we're doing here. And crowd power is a huge part of that, right? True democracy. Um, not one where every vote is counted, but not every vote counts, but where every vote is counted and every vote counts. And that's our system here. Even if your vote is let's say, an unpopular vote, you still get a portion of the rewards for voting. That the
Right.
rewards come back to you, 50% to you, 50% to the developer. And so, there's still a huge incentive. It's not like your vote goes into the ether, which is something I really appreciate about our system.
Well, and back to the meta picture for a moment, like it is disappointing to see that everybody's not out there talking about mission, but people are still out there talking about it. And eventually, when there's more competition in each sector of Web3, it's these mission focused companies that are going to have the differentiator, right? It's going to be the ones that are sticky with their audience, that they have loyalty that is a generational loyalty and not just loyalty based off their latest promo.
Right.
Um, I think that's where all the hard work you're putting in now is going to really pay off.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
did we have any other questions as we're heading to the last 5 minutes?
No, I think there's been some discussion, but I've kept an eye on chat. Seems like people are looking for more information on Orca, which will absolutely be coming soon. As we move on to release the Orca beta, we'll be doing a whole information campaign about that. Of course, we're doing the dev webinars. Those are every Thursday, and we're also going to be doing a better effort to create more content for our YouTube channel. And the dev webinars are all up there on the YouTube channel, by the way, if you want to learn how to use these systems. But shorter, more informational videos for the retail audience is totally something that we're committed to getting out to you guys.
Do you expect to see people developing tasks on Blue Sky anytime soon? Now
Yeah,
that
actually,
okay.
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, like, Twitter has become somewhat politicized. So, um,
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that actually. I guess our last point here can be so very recently, Al and I, and of course our CTO Abhishek, we were in India hosting the Koii Koala certification program or accreditation program. It's the Koii Web3 and AI leadership accreditation program. So we ran this for think a total. I mean, let's just talk about the first 3 days we ran this. We went through 45 students, and I think a total of 600 students ended up seeing uh, the program there. Um, During this accreditation program, near the end, we actually the capstone project to get the accreditation program was to actually use Blue Sky and an AI chatbot. We used Google Gemini to create an auto tweeting bot. So that was the whole capstone project. It was use Blue Sky, use Gemini, and create a chatbot that could interface with the Blue Sky API. And we actually released a bunch of tasks. I think like there was 10 plus in the first day, and by the end there were plenty. They're all there, sort of invisible on testnet, and all of them were posting to Blue Sky, and you could actually they all posted under one post just so that we could sort of see the post evolve over time. And if you look there to this day, there's like 100 or 200 posts. They're all random AI generated nonsense, to be honest, but it was really cool, really cool use case, and it proved that Blue Sky is really friendly to tools like Koii. So absolutely, I see a lot of Blue Sky integrations in the future.
great. I'd love to see more of a Koi presence there too. I know a friend of Koi, Chris Parizo from Know Your Crook from a while back, um, actually had to do the migration because he kept on getting booted off every time he made some critical comment to a large company that he thought was scamming people. They would complain, and then Twitter would just cancel Chris's account. So,
Yep,
um,
pretty
so being on
totalitarian.
multiple,
Yeah.
yeah, so being on multiple platforms would be fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, the Blue Sky integration is ridiculously easy. It's I believe 50 lines of code to get Gemini and Blue Sky working together in tandem. Um, if anybody wants to reach out into the builders chat, the dev chat here in the Discord, I'm more than happy to share the repo, and you guys can play around with that if you're looking to have a Blue Sky bot.
Fantastic. All right, we're on our last minute. Did uh did
I have
anybody
to
else?
jump off, guys, because I've got a conflict. Last thing here, it says there's a quick question from someone called Unemployed from the Gaia ecosystem. He said something about the IBM hypercompute partnership. The deal that we have with IBM is to offer Koii nodes running on the IBM compute cloud. There's a reason for this, actually. IBM has one of the best compute clouds for personalized privacy. And so this means that we can actually run Koii nodes on the IBM cloud and you can control them from your desktop node. So this is a good way to extend your personal desktop node capacity, and we have some possible pricing options coming out there. That's something that's been on the back burner for a little bit, but now that we're on mainnet, we're hoping to get that back lined up for everybody. So if there is anybody who's interested in getting access to more compute capacity to run nodes, that's something that we would love to help you with, and we just need you to open tickets with the support team, and they can try to help you out. But yeah, I have to run, unfortunately. Really appreciate all the chat today. And amazing work, Laura, and to the rest of the team who've been working on the AI side and Orca. Really excited to see this coming out very soon.
Sounds great. Thanks, everyone. You have a good week.
Bye, guys.
Cheers, folks.
Bye.
Bye.